Could one lie completely destroy a marriage that has already survived years of drama, betrayal, and family chaos? Because if you ask me, that's the question hanging over Walford next week. Billy Mitchell finds himself at the center of a claim that could change how people see him forever. And the worrying part isn't just the accusation itself, it's the timing. At the very moment Billy and Honey seem to have a chance of finding their way back to each other, someone appears determined to drive a wedge between them. And when trust has already been damaged, sometimes a single doubt is enough to bring everything crashing down. But that's only one part of what could be a massive week in Albert Square. Elsewhere, Suki and Eve face one of the most important moments of their future together. Yet old wounds and unexpected enemies threaten to derail everything. Chelsea is forced to make a deeply emotional decision, while Denise's health battle continues to cast a shadow over the family. Cindy starts showing signs of insecurity where Max is concerned, and Nicola's attempts to create happiness at home may end up exposing fears that have been quietly growing for months. What makes this week so interesting is that nearly every storyline revolves around one thing: fear. Fear of losing family, fear of losing love, fear of losing control. And some characters may react in ways that completely change their futures. Let's start with Billy, Honey, and the situation that already has fans talking. The thing is, Billy's biggest goal right now seems pretty simple. He wants stability. He wants his marriage back on track. After everything they've been through over the years, he appears desperate to prove that he still deserves Honey's trust. But Billy's biggest fear is also obvious. He knows Honey can be influenced when doubts start creeping in. Their relationship has survived difficult periods before, but once suspicion enters the picture, emotions tend to take over. What makes this story fascinating is that it doesn't really feel like it's about romance. It feels like it's about manipulation. There are always characters in Walford who know exactly which emotional buttons to press. If somebody feels ignored, rejected, or humiliated, they often look for ways to regain control. Sometimes that means telling a lie. Sometimes it means creating chaos. My theory is that the real damage here won't come from whether people believe Billy initially. The real damage will come from Honey, wondering if there could be even the tiniest possibility that the accusation contains some truth. That uncertainty could be enough. Fans know Billy isn't perfect. He's made mistakes over the years. That history could work against him now. I also think Phil's involvement makes this more complicated. Whenever Phil decides to sort out a problem, things rarely become simpler. His instinct is usually to protect family, but his methods often create fresh disasters. Could Phil accidentally make Billy look guilty? That's definitely a possibility. And if Honey starts pulling away again, we could see Billy become increasingly desperate to prove himself, which often leads characters into making even bigger mistakes. But while one relationship may be falling apart, another is facing a completely different challenge. Chelsea's storyline feels especially emotional because it centers on family connections and difficult choices. Chelsea wants what every parent wants. She wants the best future possible for her child. But she's also dealing with immense emotional pressure as Denise's health concerns continue affecting everyone around her. When families face uncertainty, people often start reassessing old relationships. What if someone from the past deserves another chance? What if shutting somebody out has actually caused more pain than letting them in? Those are the questions Chelsea seems to be wrestling with. The interesting part is that emotional vulnerability often leads characters to make decisions they wouldn't normally make. When fear and hope collide, people act from the heart rather than logic. That could be exactly what's happening here. My prediction is that Chelsea genuinely believes she's doing the right thing. The problem is that good intentions don't always lead to positive outcomes in Walford. There's also a bigger theme developing around legacy and family identity. Who belongs in a family? Who earns forgiveness? Who deserves another opportunity? EastEnders has always been brilliant at exploring those questions. I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea's decision creates unexpected tensions later down the line. Even when a choice feels right in the moment, other family members may not see things the same way. And with Denise's situation continuing to affect everybody emotionally, reactions could become far more intense than expected. Speaking of emotional pressure, nobody may be feeling it more than Suki and Eve. This is arguably one of the most important periods they've ever faced as a couple. What Suki wants is clear. She wants a future. She wants happiness. She wants the family life that has often felt impossible throughout her journey on the square. Eve wants the same thing, but she also wants reassurance that their dreams are actually achievable. The fear, however, is obvious. What if the past refuses to let go? What if old mistakes continue shaping their future? What if painful memories become impossible to escape? That's why the timing of everything feels so significant. The anniversary of a tragic loss, major life-changing decisions, and growing tension with Nicola all seem to be colliding at exactly the wrong moment. For me, Nicola is one of the most intriguing parts of this story. The question I keep asking is simple. Why does she seem so invested in causing friction? Is it jealousy? Is it resentment? Or does she see something in Suki and Eve that threatens her own sense of security? Sometimes characters target people because of who those people are. Other times they target them because of what they represent. My theory is that Nicola's conflict with Suki and Eve runs deeper than surface-level disagreements. There may be personal insecurities driving her behavior, and if that's true, the situation could escalate much further than fans expect. Meanwhile, Suki, walking away from a difficult situation, feels incredibly revealing. For years, we've watched her project strength. Seeing cracks appear reminds viewers just how much emotional weight she's carrying. That vulnerability makes her one of the most compelling characters on the show right now. Before we carry on, if you're enjoying these weekly EastEnders discussions and love sharing theories with fellow fans, don't forget to subscribe and join the conversation. The comments are always full of brilliant predictions, and honestly, some viewers spot clues weeks before anyone else. Now let's talk about Max, Linda and Cindy, because I think there may be more going on here than meets the eye. At first glance, this looks like a straightforward jealousy story, but with Cindy, things are rarely straightforward. Cindy wants certainty. She wants to know exactly where she stands. The problem is that Max has a history that follows him everywhere. No matter how much time passes, people remember old relationships, old feelings and old mistakes. That's why even a simple conversation can suddenly feel threatening. Linda's role is particularly interesting because she understands emotional struggles better than most people in Walford. She's fought battles, made mistakes, and rebuilt herself repeatedly. When characters like Linda and Max share honest moments, it naturally raises questions. Not necessarily because romance is guaranteed, but because emotional connections can become complicated very quickly. I think fans are divided on this one. Some viewers believe Cindy is overreacting. Others think her instincts might be warning her about something real. Personally, I suspect this story is less about romance and more about insecurity. When people fear losing someone, they often become hyper-aware of potential threats. If Cindy feels uncertain about her future, even innocent interactions could suddenly appear suspicious. My prediction is that jealousy will create bigger problems than any actual romantic feelings. And if Cindy starts acting defensively, she may unintentionally push people away. Finally, let's talk about what could be the most emotional storyline of the week. Nicola and her family's attempt to create happiness while serious concerns continue lurking beneath the surface. What strikes me about this story is the contrast. On one side, there's celebration, tradition, and family togetherness. On the other, there's fear. Real fear. Harry's admission feels significant because it reveals something many viewers probably suspected. Recovery isn't a finish line. It's something people manage every day. The fear of slipping backwards never completely disappears. That honesty could make this one of the week's most powerful moments. For Nicola, the situation creates an impossible balancing act. She wants her family to feel united. She wants positive memories. She wants everyone to enjoy themselves. But underneath all of that sits a terrifying reality. She can't protect the people she loves from every struggle they face. That's a fear many parents understand. I also think George's situation adds another emotional layer. Questions about family, obligation, and unresolved pain continue surfacing throughout the week. The recurring theme seems to be whether people can move forward without fully confronting the past. My prediction is that these emotional conversations won't simply disappear after this week. They feel like the beginning of bigger stories rather than the end, and that's what makes the upcoming episodes so intriguing. By the end of the week, Billy's future with Honey could look very different. Chelsea may discover that difficult decisions bring unexpected consequences. Suki and Eve could find themselves facing challenges from an entirely new direction. Cindy's insecurities may start creating cracks in her relationship with Max, and Nicola's attempts to hold everything together might reveal just how fragile things really are. The biggest question for me is this: which character is about to make the one decision they'll regret most? Because Walford has a habit of turning emotional moments into life-changing consequences. Let me know your theories in the comments. Do you believe Billy will clear his name? Is Nicola becoming a genuine enemy for Suki and Eve? Could Cindy's jealousy spiral into something bigger? And what do you think Chelsea's decision means for the future of her family? If you enjoyed the discussion, remember to like the video and subscribe for more EastEnders theories, predictions, and weekly analysis. The stories may only be starting next week, but I have a feeling the consequences could last much longer than anyone expects.